How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to another Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation episode review. Today's episode is episode 14 of season 2, Wedding Reception. Before I go any further, please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified of more reviews just like this one. If you want to support me even further, my Patreon link is in the description below. Yeah, so we have totally bypassed the wedding part. The way they talk about it is kind of weird. Like, we know Rudy's going to get married to Sylvie because he promised it a long time ago, and it's been reiterated. It was reiterated just last episode. But here, like, the beginning basically repeats what was in the description when describing what the episode is, right? And later on during the actual little party reception thing that is customary, it was saying that I'm gonna marry her, but maybe he already is married to her. I'm under the assumption that they did get married, but I don't know that we didn't see a ceremony. I don't know how any of that went. Maybe it's different in this world. I don't know. I am completely just don't know. But there's some big things that happen in here. But let's talk about who was on the invitation list, right? It was Anoba, Julie, which I just recently figured out that Julie's voice actress is the same voice actress as Anya from Spy Family, making her instantly 20,000 times cuter. There's Linnea, Persinia, Bagi Dabi, the vice principal Janice, Soldat. On Sylvie's side, she's going to, of course, invite Luke, the princess, and the princess will have 2 attendants with her. And eventually, he also invites Nanahoshi because Sylvie's like, well, would you want to invite her? Sylvie has like some underlying wishes, right? Oh, I think I forgot to say Cliff and Eloise, because she really wants to talk to her. And technically, she really wants to talk to Nanahoshi too, but we'll get to that. But the biggest thing, and it's so funny because I say it in the very beginning of my notes. Like, I already knew that Eloise is Sylvie's grandmother. There's a couple of things I know. And the new song, I'm gonna talk about that in a minute, but that new intro and new song was flashing at some of the things I knew. Now granted, I haven't read the manga. I don't know if the manga's coinciding at the same time as the anime, but I haven't read the manga. I haven't done a light novel. I know things because I read and research, but already knew that. And we'll call her Lise because that's what Cliff calls her. Lise. Sylvie really wanted to talk to Lise, and it's funny because when she was there's a part when everyone's coming up and just congratulating them in the middle of the dinner, kind of you go up and you talk, in weddings, if you've been to a wedding where the couple kind of stands by the table with the gifts and everything else, and people come up and they say congratulations, blah 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 blah, this, that, and the third. It's like that moment, right? But here, when Eloise is about to, saying, I'm very happy for you two, she starts breaking down crying. Everybody's like, oh, what's going on? And Sophie just flat out says to her, could it be you're my grandmother? Like, your description fits everything my father told me about who his mom was. You travel with Paul. You look like this, you look like that. And it's funny because later on, Rudy even starts putting together the pieces going, they both look similar, right? The pendant that Sylvie gave to him looks very similar to a pendant that Eloise has. And I do think it's funny that, one of the reasons why she didn't jump Rudy's bones, she says, well, I didn't want to be a relative of Paul. I don't want to be his daughter-in-law, right? And, pardon me. And which is also one of the funny jokes I didn't put in here. Before this whole breakdown part, she's like, "Yeah, you didn't tell me, that your problem was solved." And he's like, was like, did you think I was gonna test you? He's like, yeah, I thought you were gonna be like, let's find out. But Rudy does try to get her to feel better by even joking, saying you're worried about not being related to Paul, when yeah, you kind of are related to him, since Rudy and Sylvie are married, and technically you are now, I guess, Paul's. How does that work? If that's Sylvie's grandmother, that will make his grandmother in-law. So I guess they'd just be in-laws, just not another name for it. And this was really touching. Even the boys give the girls some time to themselves, but this was really the big part. And she couldn't hold all that in because she was crying. Now, why? She was denying it at first, right? And essentially she was denying it because of her condition and her personality, right? She has a flirtatious personality, but she also has this curse where, you know, you gotta, for lack of better words, she calls herself a whore, but lack of better words, right? And it caused issues. Even Sylvie's like, yeah, you know, kind of caused issues with my dad. Like he said, he couldn't. It was hard for him to find, you know, a partner, a wife. He got chased out of town the one time, and she didn't want her to know because it's kind of like your grandmother is this kind of person, not really up to her. I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, slang spoiler. We still don't. I don't even know if they updated it yet, if it's updated yet in the story, but it's not really known who put this curse on her, how she even had, you know, how it was inflicted upon her, right? But this extenuating circumstances, as a matter of fact, later on after their conversation, we see them kind of talking. So after everybody has left and they're talking, Rudy explains to us, well, you know, she would, when she has kids, when she has children, she wouldn't tell her kids her name. She would wait until they're, you know, able to literally fend for themselves, probably when they're adults, right? And they're able to take care of themselves, and she would just bounce because it'd be much easier. It's like your mom is the village, you know, the village whore, or the possible home wrecker, right? She's also an elf, so people probably would look down on elves. Ellie is one of my favorite characters, though. I like her. It's Eris and then her. I like her a lot, though. And that was basically her reason for just splitting ties. So apparently she knew that Sylvie was either a great granddaughter or a granddaughter just from looking at her, which it makes sense. Even Rudy put two and two, you know, saying, oh yeah, they did look similar. And this is going to fall into another part later I'm going to talk about. And the next part I want to talk about is like this intro. But this is a thing that I don't know if in the books, like this, I don't call it confrontation, but this conversation happened where it's like, it's revealed. Because back in, back in 2022, when I was doing my research for this thing, and I'm just reading up on it, I'm becoming enamored with this world, this universe, this series. It just said, yeah, they're tied to it, but she didn't tell anybody. And I'm saying, oh, okay, so are we going to have a thing where I'm going to be waiting for her to reveal it? No, Sylvie took the initiative, and you knew she was going to take the initiative. I just thought that Elenise was going to lie, but she couldn't lie because she broke down happy to see your granddaughter happy. New intro. Now, see, the reason why I'm talking about this intro next, because this is giving so many flashes to major events that are going to happen. It's good. Heartbreak is coming. Like who shows up in this? We have you see Roxy. We see Roxy in a dungeon. There's a Hydra. Paul is there. Lila. We see Rudy's mom, but the mom is in the crystal behind the giant Hydra thing. His blonde little sister, I think. Her name's not Sarah. Sarah is one of the characters that I ship Rudy with, but I forget his sister's name. Whatever her name is, there's her. There's Red little sister, the ones who they both were basically born at the same time. Because the intro just shows him growing up from baby all the way up to the top, and it gives so many flashes. Good song, really good song. It has 2010s. Anime feel, intro anime feel. It's really good. Just I'll put the link to the song and the intro. Hopefully they put it up on YouTube. I'm just gonna put it in here. And the ending is just so heartfelt, where you have like the image of the family from back when Rudy was younger, just all of them watching him as an adult falling asleep by this fire. And you got both sisters and Sylvie right there trying to, tell him don't wake him up. Also in that intro with the outro with the really, really great music, really great art, I should say. Now that we're getting a good look at this house, you realize that the second intro with the glasses that was showing all the images of the past, that's the house. I always thought it was his first house. No, that is this house right here, right now. Which means that basement where they found the robot, that is going to be, well, doll, but it's a robot. Where they found that's going to be very important in the future. Literally. So, great. And that's reason why it's the second up is because this is really good. This is really major. Pay attention to it. Also a good song. We're going to cry over family stuff. No, so what's some other minor things? I already talked about the major things. Rudy gets a new look. Sophie buys him new robes. He was so attached to his old robes, didn't realize how they were getting dingy. Gets a discount because Luke shops there so much. Just hearing the name Greyrat, guy's like, oh, I'm gonna give you a discount. Apparently it's a name brand thing from the demon continent made of I think it says lava rat pelts. If you give me 2 seconds, because I can easily find this. Cause when you're enjoying something, it goes by so fast. And I'm lucky rat pelts from the demon continent. It's gray, obviously, but it looks really good. It looks really, really good. It's a good new look. Body Gotti being the wingman, because initially Elenise was telling Rudy, Sodak couldn't make it. And the principal excused himself, and we couldn't get Paul there because Rudy said, well, he wouldn't probably get there for a long time. And Lise was telling Rudy, with beings that have been around for over a millennia, time works different. But Body Gotti showed up late on purpose to make a grand entrance because he's royal. And he was being a wingman because Rudy was really nervous about giving this speech. And he's like, don't be so formal. It's friends and family here. And that brought him out of his shell. Body Gotti is going to end up being for some reason, I feel like he's going to be a big, major force, at least for Rudy to have in his corner, right? Also, he did run into his wife. Well, he run into his wife twice. Did he run into Kishi? Twice? I feel like it was the one time. She did give him the eye, but he knows his wife. Funny moments. The triple drink moment. So you have Body Gotti, this mock champ of a man drinking. Then you have Zenoba, who is the blessed child drinking. Then you have Julie, this adorable dwarven girl. All three of them drinking. They're all supposed to have high stamina. Zenoba could not keep up, which was actually really funny. What is some other moments here? The heartfelt moments. Another funny moment was when they were sharing the bath together. Rudy, his home has his own bath. Sylvie kisses him on the cheek, which sets him off, and he's just like, nope, we're getting out of this bath and we're doing the dang thing. First heartfelt moment on this list happened at the very end, where Sylvie talks about growing her hair out. It's not green anymore, so you don't have to worry about prejudice, which thanks to Rudy they still won't have to worry about prejudice. But she says, I guess I better work hard so you'll always keep loving me. And Rudy's just like, oh, he flat out even says earlier she's the perfect wife, and she's like, well, you are my ideal husband as well. He thinks the same thing. He's like, I got to keep working hard too. Great way of ending a very sweet episode. Next heartfelt moment, doesn't seem heartfelt when I say it out loud, but the duel between Luke and Rudy, basically, Princess Ariel, they're testing Rudy. They want to make sure he's strong enough to protect her, since he's essentially taking her from them, right? I mean, Sophia's Fitz was kicking a lot of butt, so you need to make sure he's at least stronger without magic. He had to fight him in a sword duel without magic. He was able to make the sword himself, and even Rudy's going, well, I make it, he's still going to be able to cut through it. Fine, I'll do it. He couldn't figure out why they wanted to do it, but he fights, and it ends so fast. It ends so quickly. Rudy beats him. Dude even smashes his hand on the ground, hurts himself, got to get it attended to heal him. And flat out, the princess goes, look, I'm going to go to Ashura. When this is all done here learning, I'm going to go to Ashura. And Sylvie has no political ties. She's not royalty. She doesn't have to go. Like, by all means, she's hoping that, maybe she'll get pregnant, have a kid, and won't want to go on her own. But we know how loyal Sylvie is and how, headstrong she is. So she's telling Rudy, there might become a day where you're going to have to stop her from following me. And I want to make sure you're strong enough to do that. And Rudy was thinking, he's like, well, if she went along with you, obviously I would come along. To have Rude's Greyrat in your corner, she could be thinking, well, I don't want to pull them into this drama, because then they'll have more people coming at them. Remember, they tried to assassinate her, so maybe she didn't want people to try to come after her again. Who knows? But having Rude's Greyrat, who can fight not just with the sword, but with this, what's it called? Enchantless magic that doesn't hurt. But this was a heartfelt moment, because he shook hands. They buried the hatchet earlier, because Rudy's thinking it. I have no problems with him. I don't know why he thinks it, but I'll play it long. But this was helping Princess Ariel feel more comfortable with Sylvie being with Rudy, even saying, if you break her heart, we will not hesitate to take her back. And then last, but certainly not least, tied up with that Grandma Eloise moment, Cliff is more resolved in his heart to help her. Because Rudy was thinking, oh man, he's disillusioned now. It's kind of hard, to be all in when you figure out that your crush not only has kids, but has grandkids, and that she has this curse, and you've been dealing with the curse. Like, Cliff understands it and says, go and do what you got to do to survive. He's been figuring this out. But Rudy said, so you're not disillusioned? He's like, no, I want to help her even more, because she's a strong woman. The fact that she, as a mother, has to separate herself from her children, and it begs the question, does she have some cousins out there, some uncles and aunties out there that they don't know about? It's quite interesting. Also, it's interesting that how does she get green hair? Like, how did they get green hair from that when she's blonde? I don't remember her father too well. I know either her dad or her mom. I'm pretty sure her dad had green hair too. So technically, is she like half Rudyard? Remember, maybe she's half that. Probably not, just green hair, but still, right? But Cliff having this resolve, going, no, and I'm gonna definitely need your help, Rudy, to do this. And I don't think this was on accident. Where they have, the demon eye, which is technically, if we're looking in the shot of myself, yep, it's technically this left eye here. No, technically it's the right eye, but left side, right? When we get the shot of inside his right eye, and he's looking at Cliff, and he pauses for a moment, then he smiles and goes, of course, maybe Rudy's future vision, maybe he can see through his emotion, maybe he's just, being older. Not only being older, but having that 34-year-old mind from the past world, which is technically he should be in like close to his 50s mentally. Maybe he's looking and saying, this is a good dude. Okay. And Cliff goes like, we're friends. You don't have to be so formal. And he's like, I'm trying to remember if Rudy says, but shouldn't I though? I'm trying to, I don't grow her hair out. I think not. We're friends, aren't we? Stop being so formal. He's like, I think not. I think he's saying like, no, I'm going to keep being formal to you because he respects him. I don't know. Cliff still hasn't even brought up the fact that he was in love with Eris, and all Eris talked about was Rudy this, Rudy that. So, and again, I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just going to say season 3 of Demon Slayer is kind of a hint there. Wink, wink. So I'm looking forward to some of this emotional moments coming up, especially if we're going to see Roxy again. You know, Roxy always knew the person she would want to be with is someone that rescues her from a dungeon. And we see her in a dungeon. So I'm not giving any more hints. That's the only hints I'm going to give. But this was... I gave last week's a 4 out of 5 because it was just kind of... It felt like it was a continuation, but it was like... just kind of like a linking episode. This was really good. This was straight up 5 out of 5. For some reason in this series, and this isekai particularly, I find myself loving the character driven moments, the emotional moments. Not even the political. It's not much political. You know, this isn't House of the Dragon, but it's those emotional character driven moments. That's where it has in common with something like that, where it's character driven. And then it goes, well, you know what? We are in this, you know, world of spells and swords. We're going to have a duel here. He's going to do magic. We're going to see these dragons and weird dolls. And there's a god here and there's another god there. And you're best friends with a giant mock champ purple god. So, yeah. That you can't forget that part, but it is definitely character driven. Remember, that first season was all about he was being reborn, but he still had that trauma. The fact that trauma carried all the way over. And wow, and part 1 of season 2 was about him going just trying to get over the trauma he got in part 2 season 1. Like, dude he's dealing with trauma way better in the second life, where he flat out says when he was reborn, he's like, I'm gonna make the most out of this world, out of this second chance. So good on you, Rudy, whatever your past life name was. Also, he made potato chips for Nana Hoshi, and she was happy. She was happy as hell. Somehow, I guess she was able to come up with the vegetable oil thing. Because Rudy even said, well, thanks to you with the vegetable oil, I was able to make lots of potato chips. So she was able to eat food that she remembers from this world in the present. So, yeah, 5 out of 5. Really good. Next episode is called Afar. So we know he's going to link up with his dad again. It seems like Little Sister Red and Little Sister Blonde are going to be coming into that household. It's a big ass mansion, so you got the space for it. I'm looking forward to seeing what Afar is going to be like. Let me know what you thought of the episode in the comment section below, please. Don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new here, and hit the notification bell even if you aren't, just so you can be notified of more reviews just like this one. Man, I'm just happy Sundays. Mushoku Tensei Sundays are back. And it's, yes, I'm so glad for this. Thank you for taking some time out to listen to me talk about this show. Please be good, be blessed. Wash your hands, drink some water. Be careful out there. All right. Be good to yourself, be good to others. Either way, don't be a jerk. All right. Right. Remember, there are people out there that care about you, that love you and need you. Hell, there are people out there that would rather talk to you today than to miss you and mourn you tomorrow. So make sure you reach out to somebody. All right. My social medias are in the description below. Give me a follow, send me a message. Either way it goes, don't be a jerk, and I will definitely get in contact with you. All right. All right. Until next time, guys. Hey, I don't have a sign off for this, but I can't wait.